Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Hi, helloey, my name is Loey, and as promised, I am back with you guys today for even more videos coming from the glitch in the matrix side of TikTok. If you missed it recently, I actually posted another video including like 15 glitch in the matrix videos. Today, I think we have like 20 something more to go through. The whole concept of a glitch in the matrix relies on the theory that we live in a simulation of sorts. Some people think that's quite literal, like we are being controlled in a game of The Sims. Some people think it has more of a spiritual aspect to it. Think hopping timelines and realities and such. Although, is that really spiritual? Is it more sci-fi? I don't really know. Before we get into today's video, I've been chatting with you guys a lot more recently about mental health, and in particular, my own mental health. Despite being someone who has always dealt with mental health struggles and depression and anxiety, last year I started to struggle with my mental health in a way I never have before. It was hard and scary and isolating, and when I finally decided that I was ready to get help for my mental health, everything changed for me. And it is the reason that I am sitting before you happy and healthy today. Having the right care is really important in mental health, but I know for so many of us, it can be really hard to find accessible mental health care. And that is where today's sponsor, Grow Therapy, comes in. Grow Therapy is a modern mental health platform with no subscriptions, no long waits, just care that truly works for you. In my mental health journey, therapy has been so beneficial for me. Grow Therapy makes connecting with your dream therapist easy. You can book in as little as 2 days with appointments available on nights and weekends with no long wait lists needed. You can also filter by identity, gender, faith, and more depending on what is most important to you. There are virtual or in-person sessions, and you can choose from over 19,000 licensed and vetted providers. Grow works with 100 plus insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states, which many competitors do not offer. Sessions cost on average about $21 with insurance, some paying even $0 depending on their plan. Grow Therapy is pay per session, no hidden commitments. And you don't just have to take my word for it. They have over 1 million users and a 4.7 star rating on Trustpilot. Therapy can be such a useful tool to so many. I know it is such a useful tool for me. And if you are at all interested in trying therapy, I truly believe that Grow Therapy is a better, more accessible option. So you can go to growtherapy.co/LoeyLane or scan that little QR code on screen right now to find your dream therapist with Grow Therapy. Thank you so much to Grow Therapy for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate being able to tell you guys about tools like this because, like I said, taking care of my own mental health has been the biggest game changer for me. So thank you very much to them, and thank you to you guys as always for watching. And now let's get into these spooky videos. In my last Glitch in the Matrix video, we talked a lot about the fact that TikTok itself seems to be glitching pretty badly recently. And while today's videos mostly will focus on like what is a traditional glitch in the matrix, but you know, more like the ones that we're used to, there was one more like TikTok glitch that I had to tell you guys about because this was plaguing like my own personal For You page. Back in December, a bunch of people kept posting about the fact that they were getting a black screen, like 28-minute long video on their For You page repeatedly that had this like creepy music, but it's just like a black screen. I'm not sure if I'll be able to play the music, but one TikToker here said, is anybody else getting increasingly more scared every time this video pops up? What does it mean? So it was just this like creepy-ish audio. The video came from an account called Flix Drama, which is one of those like vertical shorts accounts. And it is called Amnesia and a Sudden Marriage to My First Love. Now, TikTok glitches all the time, right? This clearly is just like a corrupt video file, except the people kept getting the video. It was like cycling back through everyone's For You pages dozens of times. And you know, if your screen time is on ungodly hours for TikTok, that's really not normal. Sometimes you'll have like a duplicate video once, maybe twice on your For You page, but usually within like a long-ish span of time. And at least for me, it hasn't happened that frequently. So it had a lot of people wondering. And unlike our other TikTok glitches that we talked about in my last video, this one has a pretty solid explanation. And one TikToker named Noahglenncarter, I've talked about him before, he has great videos, talked a bit about this situation and kind of broke it down for us.
So this super long video that is literally just a black screen and audio keeps popping up on everyone's For You page multiple times. Now I did some research on it, I know what it is, and I'm going to tell y'all exactly what it is. So TikTok is pushing this new thing that's called like series. It's basically either like a movie or a TikTokified TV show that has like 50, 60 parts. Why is the screen black then, Noah? Why can't you watch like the actual series? Now that actually happens for one or two reasons. It's either a glitch because the series feature is new, they're kind of testing it out, it hasn't been fully rolled out yet. That's why you keep seeing the same exact series video in your For You page. Like I haven't seen any others, just the Amnesia one. Or that series is just copyrighted in your specific region that you're seeing it in. And for whatever reason, TikTok keeps trying to force that specific series down your throat so you'll watch it.
So yeah, it had a lot more to do with the way that TikTok's algorithm was specifically pushing out the concept of series, but took a lot of people for a wild ride, myself included for a second there. Like the fourth or fifth time that I got that video with that creepy music on my For You page, I was like, what is happening here? But on to these true glitch in the Matrix experiences, okay? I have some bangers for y'all today. Some of these stories are some of the creepiest glitch in the Matrix experiences I've ever heard, with literally no explanation whatsoever. And I don't think that there's a better place to start than this video from one TikToker named Shady Spidey. It's captioned, "I'm believing the quantum immortality theory more and more." The creator sets up this video by saying, "I think I am from a different timeline and I'm going to prove it to you. I have photo proof." Cars, it seems, have been a really big part of this creator's life for a long time. Back in school, he was in car club. He remembers the very specific vehicles that he's had throughout his life. And I feel like, especially when you're a teenager, you remember your cars, okay? I remember my 2001 silver PT Cruiser that I genuinely drove until it had like 250,000 miles on it and the AC was leaking into the interior of the car, okay? And you know what's crazy? My parents actually ended up selling that car to someone else when I was like 18 and I finally got my second car because it was just so toast. And that like person who bought it ended up fixing it up and it was still running for like a solid 5 more years. It's crazy what a lifespan that car got. Clearly there's some sentimentality to this stuff, okay? And he talks about the 2 cars that he has owned in his life.
So a few days ago, I was going through a box of photos and I found a photo that completely threw me off. It's a photo I'd never seen before. And it belonged to me. So back in, whenever this was, it doesn't even have a date, so I can't even tell you, but, apparently I own this vehicle that's in this photo, and I can tell you for a fact that I only owned 2 vehicles when I was a teenager. My very first car was a 1984 Toyota Tercel, booger green, and I could tell you it didn't even have 5-speed. It wasn't 5-speed, it was a 4-speeder. The other vehicle that I got after that was a Mazda MX-3. It was purple. It was in the shape of an egg. So I very much remember everybody making fun of me for having an egg, a purple egg.
Despite these memories, he has found a photo of an unfamiliar vehicle that he does not remember ever owning. And it's funny because he does remember the car, but he didn't own it. He just finds it, and on the back of this picture is his mother's handwriting.
So where the does this Mitsubishi Eclipse come from? And on the back, my mom's writing saying Carlos's first car, Royal Palm Place, Kendall, Florida. I've never owned this car. This was the car of my dreams. This was actually my friend's car, Chris, who I was super jealous of because I was stuck with a 1984 booger green car. Meanwhile, he was stuck with a 1998 Mitsubishi Eclipse. And this isn't my car.
Like I said, he was in car club. This was a very big part of his life. These cars meant a lot to him. And so he reaches out to some old friends that knew him back then and says, "Do you remember me owning this car? Like, this is so weird. I'm telling you, I didn't," basically. And all of them say, "Oh yeah, like I vaguely remember that." Or I think another guy says straight up, like, "I do remember that."
So here's the conversation after I sent him the photos, my buddy that I've known for over 3 decades. And I told him like, "Hey, do you remember me owning this car?" He said, wow, I sort of remember you driving this car. I think you took it to the Redlands when we went racing, but I don't know if it was your first car. I never owned this car. I never owned this car. I've never owned this car. And then he goes on to say, brings back memories of my purple mobile, the Purple Eclipse. He never owned a Purple Eclipse. He owned a silver one. He owned a silver one.
So isn't it crazy that like he remembers this, as he lovingly calls it, booger green car, right? That is not something you forget, okay? You just don't like misremember, I think, a detail of that degree. I think that as we get older, our memory certainly changes and certain details of our past can be lost to us or changed with time. I think I read this thing once that was like every time you remember something, you actually change a detail of it ever so slightly. So like things that have happened to you and in your life and stuff, you don't actually remember them exactly as they are. That aside, I think this is a bit too big of a detail to just straight up misremember, especially because he has this memory of almost being like jealous of this car because his friend had it. So in this story, I like fully believe this person. I think that is a crazy, crazy story. Like, if that had happened to me, if I found photo proof that my past was not what I thought it was, I think I would genuinely have like a meltdown. Like, it is crazy this man is upright right now. Perhaps one might call it a Mandela effect. And thanks to our next poster, we're going to talk about even more Mandela effects. So this is the Conspiracy Barber 01, who has a very, very interesting safe in his home. Now, when he opens up this video, he says, TikTok for some reason keeps taking these down. Is it because they don't want us to see the truth that the Berenstain, not Berenstain, bears truly existed, or the fruit of the loom cornucopia? I have to tell you, this guy has some true gems in his possession.
I'm gonna go into my safe here and show you a couple Mandela effects that have been, I'm now gonna come out and show them to the world. So look at what I got here. Oh, hold on. So I got the Berenstain Bears, not Berenstain Bears, Berenstain. It's an actual book. I also have the Shazam VHS. If you guys can see the cornucopia, see the cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom tag. So Fruit of the Loom denies ever having a cornucopia on their sweatpants. The Berenstain Bears are saying it's always been the Berenstain Bears. And there's also saying that the Shazam video never existed. I also have a old jar of Jiffy peanut butter that they're saying it's always been Jif, not Jiffy.
I'm sure you already know this, but I totally believe in the whole concept of a glitch in the Matrix. I've experienced too much of them to explain myself. My biggest one is the spelling of Chick-fil-A, because I grew up in Georgia and I remember how it was spelled so clearly. My second biggest one is the Fruit of the Loom cornucopia that never existed, because it totally freaking existed. I remember the Fruit of the Loom cornucopia. That was how I learned what a cornucopia was. It is insane to me that anyone is trying to convince us otherwise. Not every Mandela effect, I think, is actually a Mandela effect, but I think that this guy has an interesting little collection here. The thing is, though, I look at stuff like this, and I don't think for a minute like, oh, you just have this secret stash of Mandela effect items. I think they have to be like modified or something in some way, but I do think that that's true. I think that we remember them that way, and I think that maybe at one point they truly were that way, but I don't necessarily think proof of that exists unless there is a massive like misunderstanding and there were some typos maybe with Berenstain Bears, which has never really been proven, I don't think anyways, or there was just a very limited run of the cornucopia, but Fruit of the Loom has literally said there was never a cornucopia, so I don't really think that can be true. I actually had a Mandela effect debunked for me recently because I remembered the Pokemon Onyx being spelled like O-N-Y-X, like Onyx, but it's actually spelled O-N-I-X, and I was so confused because I literally remembered it being Onyx, and I actually eventually found out that it is due to a translation issue that was going on, I guess, with the team that was like localizing Pokemon episodes for a Western audience. So that made me feel a bit like there have to be explanations for at least some of these, right? But at least other people believe in these Mandela effects, right? What if you had your own personal Mandela effect? One where you remembered a detail about your life, much like our poster earlier with his car, that nobody else does. There is a story, and this comes from one TikToker named Who They have this really amazing page and a really cool series called Down the Rabbit Hole, where they go down like internet rabbit holes and tell stories and stuff. She's an amazing storyteller, and I am obsessed with her account, so please, please, please check her out. I will have her as well as everybody else listed out in the description box down below. But she talks about a story from a girl named Maya who woke up to a world in which her mother did not exist.
Did y'all hear that story about that girl named Maya who woke up in a world where her mom never existed? No? So let me go ahead and take y'all down the rabbit hole, because this is a little bit crazy.
I was trying to figure out where this story originally came from. Towards the end of this video, the poster mentions Reddit, and I was trying to see if I could find a Reddit thread, something like that, but I couldn't personally stumble across an original source. But the story goes as this. This girl named Maya, right? She gets a bump on the head during a car accident, nothing major. She goes home after. When she does, her mother is nowhere to be found.
She got in a car accident, nothing major. It was just a little bump on her head, but she woke up in a hospital and everything just felt like off with her after that. When she got home, her apartment key still worked, but the furniture was different. It was facing the opposite way. And it was all these pictures on the wall of people she didn't recognize. But what got her was, and all her family pictures, like she would be there in some of them, but like her mother was in none of the pictures. And she specifically remembered placing pictures around her house with her mother in it all over, but there was not a single picture of her mom in her house.
And apparently Maya does everything she can think of. She calls her mom. Her mom doesn't pick up. She goes to her mother's house and another family lives there.
It's a whole different family that lived in her mother's house now. So thank God she still had a picture of her mother in her wallet. So she proceeds to pull out that picture to show the family. She's like, no, this is my mom's house. And they said, no, nobody by that name ever lived here. But the picture that she showed her, and they like, that looked like that girl, that lady who used to live like 2 streets over, but she died a couple years ago. So she's freaking out. She's like, Dad, what? She starts searching Facebook posts, old school records, newspapers, just looking high and low for her mom. Y'all, she could not find evidence other than that picture that she had in her wallet that her mom ever existed.
But the craziest part is when Maya finally hits this point where she like has to talk to her father about this, and she's like, you know, what is going on here? Like, where is mom? And he looks at her and says, your mother passed away during childbirth. You've never known her, and you were raised by your grandmother.
She starts thinking like, I'm tripping. Like, I know, like what's going on? Like, I know that I know who my mom is. But the crazy part is, y'all, a week later from all of this happening, because she just went with it. She's like, you know what? I can't prove that she's here, but I have this memory. But a week later, y'all, she gets a voicemail. The voicemail says, you weren't supposed to remember. And then after that, it completely wipes itself.
The voicemail in particular, like that little tidbit, is super, super creepy, and I don't know what that's all about. But at the end here, this poster mentions the whole Reddit thread and how there are other people who have this experience. Again, I couldn't find an original poster here. I think that this is one of 2 things. Number one, actually, one of 3 things. My biggest nightmare in the entire world. I wake up tomorrow and my mommy isn't here, I'm jumping ship. Like, I don't want to be in this timeline either. Like, whatever wormhole she escaped through, I'm crawling right in after her, because that absolutely sounds like a living freaking nightmare. Number 2, this, of course, as so many things do, reminded me of the Reddit lamp guy story, in which a guy experienced a decade of life with a loving wife and children that he remembers so vividly during a point when he had been knocked out on the ground. He lived a whole life during like a short time of unconsciousness. Now, if you want to say that was a glitch in the Matrix, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you, but there are many people who believe, and I think there probably is some science to this, that he was making up these memories in his head, basically dreaming it all while he was unconscious on the ground. Could that have been what happened to this poster potentially, that she fabricated these memories of her mother during this car accident? I don't believe that as much, especially because it seems like it was just like a light knock on the head or something. But at the same time, I also think that the third option, I've already said 3 options, the next option is that this is just a made up Reddit story, because people make things up on Reddit all the time. Who knows? This may have come from like a fictional subreddit or something. So I could not find the original source here, but I thought this was a creepy story nonetheless. Genuinely would send me into like just absolute panic, because what the heck? And what is a glitch in the Matrix video without a couple good old-fashioned item duplication glitches? This TikToker, while going through her closet, found 2 of the exact same very specific polka dot blouse.
I was putting my clothes away, and I came across this shirt, and nothing weird about that. But then I came across this shirt, the same exact shirt, in a different part of the closet. And this is not a shirt that I buy multiples of. This is like kind of a special occasion shirt. And this one has the tag that I had cut out. And this one has the tag where I had cut it out. Glitch in the Matrix.
Then you have this TikToker who had a jacket that seemingly cloned itself out of thin air.
Okay, so I went out on Saturday and I wore this jacket and I'm putting it away. And I always slip it through the tag here, Canton Walker, size large. Okay, I have this one. I put it down. I said, okay, this is going in my closet. Then I went through more of my laundry. This is the same Canton Walker, size large, the same jacket. The exact same jacket. Why would I buy 2 jackets in the same exact color and the same exact size? I'm freaking out because I don't know where these 2 came from. Or I know where one came from, I bought it, but where'd the other one come from?
It got even more specific when this TikToker, Laurephobia, found 2 of the exact same hoodie in their home.
So I just got home from work and I was wearing this jacket. I've had this jacket for probably like 3-4 years. And I've never seen another one like it.
Turn it around.
But yeah, I take it off whenever I get back in my truck after work, and I see this one lying on the floor of my truck, and I don't know how the I got it. I accidentally duplicated this or something.
And yet another TikToker had her wedding ring literally duplicate itself during the short time that it was off of her finger for a dental surgery.
So I took my rings off to go to get my dental implant surgery, and I come home and I go to get in my jewelry box and I find 2 more of the exact same ring. Stay with me. This is freaking crazy. So I had 2 of the same one. I had one on top of my diamond and one on the bottom. And now a third, the exact same ring, has shown up. And look at this. My rings were bent in the exact same place. See how it's like flat? Look at this. 2 of them are the exact same.
You guys know, if you watched my last video, that until quite recently, I have not really been on board with the whole item duplication glitch thing. I mean, they'll weird me out. There are some of them where I'm like, whoa, that is really, really, really weird. But for the most part, I've always kind of felt like it does sort of make sense why items might magically create more of themselves, because it's not so much magic at all. Maybe you accidentally picked up a version of that item while you were out and about. Maybe something that wasn't yours got thrown into your dry cleaning, or if you're at a laundromat, you may have grabbed someone else's item, or maybe you genuinely bought 2 of something. I literally did that the other day. I got like this cute skirt from Hot Topic, and as I was going through my order, I was like, why do I have 2 of this? Lo and behold, I had indeed accidentally ordered 2 of the exact same skirt in one order, so I'm returning one of them. But I've always kind of felt like it's not that weird, you know? And sometimes I don't even think people actually think it's a glitch in the Matrix. I think sometimes like people are just saying it is when they know that they have 2 of the same item. But then it happened to me. And if you didn't watch the last video, I had an experience with an item duplication glitch that someone else witnessed, and it genuinely freaked me out so badly because even though I knew it was, you know, logical, like could make sense for me to have two of this item, I know I didn't. And I certainly know I didn't have two of them out at the same time. So then when I see a video like this from TikToker I.rennnnee, and to me, originally I would have looked at this and been like, yeah, there's totally an explanation for this. Now I'm like, I know why this is driving you so crazy because you know you didn't have multiple of this item.
I have 6 pillows on my bed. One day, randomly, one pillowcase goes missing. Don't know how. I just look at my pillow and it's gone off the pillowcase and nobody knows what happened to it. And I can't find it anywhere. I search under my bed, I search where I would normally put all of my blankets and stuff. I ended up having to go to the store and buy 2 more pillowcases. Now I use the same 2 pillows pretty much every single night. So I go to get my pillow, I put it under my head and it's like hard, it doesn't feel normal. I'm like, what is that? Why does it feel like that? I reach inside the pillowcase to fluff the pillow. There's a second pillowcase on the pillow. So I take it off. And it gets even weirder because I'm feeling it and it still doesn't feel normal, and I realize there is a third pillowcase on the pillow. I wish that I was making this up. Here's the pillow in question. Look at the stitching. Like the 2 lines of stitching. Same 2 lines. This is the pillow itself. What?
However, recently we talked about in my last video the concept of quantum tunneling and items merging together, or atoms basically being able to pass through one another that shouldn't. And in this video, this TikToker was just checking out at a store when suddenly an item fell in a way that didn't make any sense.
I just dropped that and it landed like that. What the? That's crazy.
Now, I think there's definitely like a gap back there. I don't think this is atoms like passing through each other. I can understand why it would be like a, whoa, how did that happen? Like, how did it fall in such a specific way moment? But I do think there's an explanation for this. Like I said, I think there's an explanation for a lot of item glitches, but that doesn't mean they're not weird. And again, I get it when like stuff happens that you just feel like, oh my God, I can't explain that. I came across this video captioned "Glitch in the Matrix, saw a girl who looked exactly like me today, wearing the same outfit I wore 5 years ago, standing in the exact same spot. This poster, like she says, literally was there 5 years ago, taking photos in that same spot in the same outfit. And while clearly that person is not her, she's not looking into an alternate timeline or something, how crazy is that? Like, what are the odds the time that you happen to go back here, somebody is standing there where you were 5 years before in the exact same outfit as you, mind you, and they both look amazing in it. I don't know if I'd call it a glitch, but I'd say it's a very interesting coincidence. I guess I don't really know if you call this one a glitch, and I don't have another segment in the video to put this in, but there's a TikTok that's been going really, really viral from a TikToker, El Kukui TV. I'm sure we have featured their videos on the channel before. They post a lot of like Spanish horror videos, and this is a video of a trucker who gets a call from their company saying there's a woman with you, you know you're not supposed to have passengers. To which this truck driver says, yeah, nobody is with me, but you can clearly see there is this creepy, distorted looking figure beside him. Now, I have seen this video floating around for so incredibly long. I've wanted to feature it in something for so long. I feel like a glitch in the Matrix is where it would fit best, because it's not really someone who's there, but maybe you could consider it paranormal. Either way, I think this is definitely edited, but a creepy video nonetheless, for sure. And I hear so many scary paranormal stories come out of people who are truck drivers or like truck stops and stuff like that. So I don't doubt that there's some paranormal activity going on, or that there are like some ghosts getting, you know, schlepped around or whatever. Am I using that appropriately in a sentence? I heard the word schlep earlier on TikTok, and I don't actually think I know what it means, but it's very fun to say. Schlep, haul or carry, something heavy or awkward. I would say that a ghost is an awkward thing to schlep about. And this TikToker, Deadnbury, seemed to catch a parking lot glitch right in front of his own eyes, and had to watch this one once or twice to quite understand what was going on. The parking lot of the grocery store, super jam-packed that day. There are cars everywhere. He can't even find a spot to park in. But when he goes in, it's seemingly empty.
Watch this. I'm gonna show you guys something.
Look, nobody in here, bro. There's nobody in the aisles, bro. Look at this. How do you explain all 50 cars out there, bro, and the store is empty? This shit is crazy.
How could this possibly be? Well, netizens say, don't worry, as soon as you get to the cash register to check out, 100 people magically join in behind you. Someone else says, The Truman Show. Someone else says, I've never seen my neighbors bring groceries in. Mind you, I have a Ring camera. And someone else says you're on a different timeline than they are. You can't see them and they can't see you, but somehow the timelines are overlapping. I'm assuming most of those people were joking because I think that there were definitely people in that grocery store. You could literally hear them in the background of the video. I've also never watched The Truman Show. I should probably do that. Anyways, we have at the end of this video some really, I don't really know how to classify these. I guess I'd say sentimental glitch in the Matrix experiences. And these are so interesting to me because they include photos and like personal memorabilia that goes back years and decades that has somehow been glitched through time. This TikToker, Fang Banger, had a crazy glitch in the Matrix experience with a photo of hers that is 24 years old.
I have a glitch in the Matrix story for you, and I've got photos to prove it.
So this poster had a boss who was out antique shopping one day and sends her a text message saying, I just found this at this antique store.
This incident happened a few years ago. My boss was out antique shopping and she sent me a photo, which I'm going to show you here in a second, and a text. And the photo was inside the antique store. It was on a shelf. There was like picture frames and candles. You can see little price tags on them. And she just texted, is this you?
She is 43 at the time of recording this TikTok, and in this photo, she is 19 years old. And it is indeed, she confirms, a photo of her in this antique store. That's not the craziest, most out there thing ever. You know, sometimes personal items get donated to Goodwill or, you know, whatever. They end up floating around for one reason or another. But this gets a lot weirder as she goes on because this copy of this photo should not exist.
Okay, so it's a big coincidence that a photo of me from 24 years ago is in an antique shop that somebody I know happens to pass through. That's not even the glitch part of it. I have the original photo. I took that photo at Sears Portrait Studio in 2001. My grandparents, that's all they wanted for Christmas was just a really nice photo. I didn't have a lot of money, so I only bought one page. So I had one like large size photo and then a couple wallets. The photo at the antique shop is different. Okay, obviously it's black and white. Not only that, but the pose is different. That's the crazy part, is how did this photo manifest into existence? Sure, Sears could have taken one of the extra poses and printed it in black and white, but why? And let's say that Sears had printed it out. How would it remain in circulation for 24 years?
She also clarifies that the city that this antique shop is located in, the city where she lives in, the city where her grandmother lived in, like all of these are different places in different states. This was one of those antique stores where they like rent out like stalls, I guess you call them, to various people who sell their antiques in the store, and then the store gets a cut, you know, they basically lease it out. And so this poster's boss didn't necessarily know who owned that little booth. The owner of the shop didn't really seem to know either, and she left the photo behind, leaving this poster to literally forever wonder, how in the world did this photo get duplicated? How did it exist in this particular space, and why is it popping up now 24 years later?
She said she'd went to a bunch of different antique shops and she didn't remember exactly which one that it was in. And I went searching for that photo, and unfortunately, I never found it. The mystery remains unsolved. It's got to be some sort of glitch in the Matrix, but I'm going to put those two photos side by side and you can let me know what you think.
This video gives me chills. Captioned in 7th grade, 1983, I wrote something in my diary that just gave me the biggest chills. Coincidence?
Here is my diary from 7th grade. I'm preparing to move, so I found it in my stuff and decided to open it and read some pages. Here it was, 1983 to 1984. And as I am getting through it, I get to February 28th.
Now, in this diary entry, this poster is talking about her day, okay? She's filling her diary in on life. But at the end, she says to herself, "Today is somebody's birthday, but I can't remember who." But wouldn't you know it, she knows whose birthday it is now.
Today is somebody's birthday, but I can't remember whose. Signed, me. And I got the biggest chills because on February 28th, 2001, I gave birth to my first child, my baby girl, Molly. And I've been freaking out. I ended up ripping out the page so I could save it, but I wanted to go back and record this to get everyone's opinion.
I think that's so crazy. Maybe it was, you know, like a classmate's birthday or something like that, but also maybe there was this part of her that like almost sensed this future that was to come. I don't know. I think that's just so crazy to think about, and I think that she definitely believes it in that way. So I'm gonna agree with her. I don't necessarily know if this is one that I want to brush off. Like, I really do think that's a very, very special and cool experience. And how sweet to think your birthday was being celebrated before you were ever born. Then this TikToker named Kat had a crazy glitch in the Matrix experience involving an old photo of her.
So I think I'm experiencing like a glitch in the Matrix scenario, and I have no explanation for it, and it's actually really freaking me out.
And this one is so beyond like a glitch in the Matrix. It's so crazy how this comes to be in the possession of the person who will have this item that has been basically duplicated out of nowhere. The poster explains that her mother was over at a friend's house one night. This is like her best friend in the world, and she's over at their house, and they have these lawn chairs outside. And the mom looks into the cup holder of this lawn chair and realizes that there is a photo of her daughter just inside of the chair. That may not be all that weird. I mean, they're best friends. Of course, this is like family to them. Except that this is a photo from when the poster is very, very young, and she's in her 20s now. And this family friend has not been in her life since she was like 6 months old. So how in the world did it get there? Well, of course, the mom asks, and the story of how this photo came to be in their possession is unthinkable.
So she goes and finds the owner of the house. Let's call her Mary. She asked Mary, "Where did you find this picture?" Or like, "Where did this come from?" She said, 2 years ago, I found it in the yard. So I need to give a little bit of backstory. I live in the Midwest. We get tornadoes every single year. Specifically 2 years ago, we had a tornado come through a town called Greenfield, which is 40 miles away from here. It went through this town, obliterated like 150 houses in like 1 minute. And what was weird about this tornado is it had this massive debris field where it picked up all the like light stuff, like pictures and papers and envelopes and like all this stuff. And it scattered it across the state for like 100 and something miles in people's yards. Like people were finding pictures for weeks. So at this point, like city halls across the state were doing a return program where you could like bring the pictures and artifacts and stuff in, and they would try and get them returned to the people that live in Greenfield. So Mary is outside after the Greenfield tornado and finds a bunch of pictures in her yard just like everybody else did, and picks up like 20 of them, and they're shoving them in the cup holders of these chairs so they wouldn't blow away. She then proceeds to take all of the pictures that they found to City Hall and return them. And she said, "I don't know, I must have just forgot that one."
It's so crazy to think about. You know, I lived in the Midwest for many, many years, and luckily during my time there, tornadoes were not as much of a daily concern in my life as I know they are for so many people who live in that area. I just lived there, and I think a relatively lucky span of a couple of years, because these tornadoes are so wildly destructive, and the fact that it's just commonplace to find like photos and paper and these items just all over the place, like it's nothing from tens and dozens of miles away. It's crazy. But how did her photo get there? Because as she explains, she didn't have any family, no friends, no nothing from the area that had been impacted for the tornado at this time. She shows the photo, and in my opinion, of course, it is the exact same image. I mean, one looks a little more weathered than the other. I assume the one that has been weathered is the one that had gone through the tornado. Could this and the other video where we talked about a photo being duplicated be examples of perhaps these photo studios holding on to images like that for promotional materials and whatnot? But what are the odds? And I feel like you have to give them permission for something like that, right? I don't know. Of course, there could potentially be a logical explanation here, and at the end of the day, it's a photo. You can have multiple prints of a photo no matter what you remember, right? But it's just interesting to me that it happened in both of these cases, especially this story with the tornado. It is just crazy to me. And then the last story comes from Thegreenemanor, who we have talked about on TikTok before, and she has had a glitch in the matrix in this very house that she's standing in right now. So one day, this poster is cleaning her house, and if you are unfamiliar with Thegreenemanor, you should, number one, check out her videos. As with everybody that I am mentioning today, I will have everyone listed out down below. As always, this house is like this historic, very old house where paranormal things and glitch in the matrix experiences happen all the time.
Okay, I am experiencing the weirdest glitch in the matrix right now, and we all know weird stuff happens in my house all of the time, but mainly upstairs, and right now I'm downstairs in our bedroom.
So as she's cleaning her house, she notices that her humidifier is for some reason not sitting properly. It's as if something is lodged in it. So she's trying to fix it. Something metal suddenly clanks onto the floor. She didn't even know where it came from at first. She picks it up and realizes it's this metal hook. Now, number one, that would be weird to have gotten jammed beneath the humidifier anyway, but what's weirder is she knows exactly what this is and where it came from.
And it's this, and it's and I didn't know what it was, Autumn. I couldn't even find it at first. I had to really look because it was blending in. And I'm like, this is so weird because I know exactly what this is, but it doesn't make sense. So I have this hook, and when I bought these hooks, it was literally 10 years ago. I bought them for our first house where we lived for 7 years. So I've had them for at least 10 years. They came as a pair, but the pair, or the second one, broke while we lived at our last house. So it broke probably 3 or 4 years ago. I know this is the hook. It's exactly the same. Not to mention, I saved the other piece because I was just bummed out when it broke, and I think it looks cute. So it's been sitting next to my grandparents for the last 2 years, ever since we bought this house. It has been there on this mantle the whole entire time.
And there is no reason nor explanation for it to have been there. So she literally has this item still in her possession, the broken part of it.
Why would I have this hook? This broke 4 years ago. I wouldn't save the hook. I know I didn't. And even so, why would it survive the move to this house as well? I've lived here 2 years. I deep clean our bedroom all the time. I've been deep cleaning it for the last 3. I would have found this by now.
And I assume that she uses this humidifier on a regular basis, of course. So where did the hook come from? Maybe somehow it lasted through, all of these years and the move and everything like that. Okay, fine. How did it end up wedged into the humidifier? How did it get there specifically? Because I personally am how did that hook end up there at all? But I'll give you that, okay? Maybe it made it there somehow through all these moves, all this time, whatever. How did it get wedged in the humidifier? I don't know, you guys, but that was our final video for today's Glitch in the Matrix video. And I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know which videos you think are real Glitch in the Matrix experiences. Let me know which ones that you feel like you could totally debunk, and let me know your thoughts down below. I always love to hear it. But that is it for me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A special thank you to my subscribers who are members of the channel. If you want to join the channel memberships and get extra members exclusive perks like members only videos, you can click that little join button somewhere around the screen. We would love to have you. And extra special thank you to my VIP loves for their continued and generous support of the channel. I love and appreciate you all very, very much. I love you all very much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.